Hey there, Remodelaholics, and welcome to our new subscribers. We're so glad to have you. Today we're working with our contributor Sarah from The Created Home to show you how to make a Magnolia-inspired chalkboard style laundry sign, because we just can't get enough of Joanna Gaines and that fixer-upper farmhouse style. This tutorial is also a tale of how kids make every DIY project a little more interesting, also known as how to roll with it when you're not sure your project is ruined or not. I'd love to hear in the comments below your biggest fail or near fail that you saved in the end, because you can't be a remodelaholic until you screwed something up and then saved it in the end. We've all been there. Here to tell us the whole story is Sarah. You can get the printable template over at remodelaholic.com, and please be sure to give this video a thumbs up.
Hey there, I am going to show you how to make a laundry sign, basically a replica of the Magnolia laundry sign. What I've done here is printed up a template of how I think the letters should fit, kind of fit them on this board here. We'll come back to these later. I will include the template as well in the tutorial on the blog. Just so you know, this is a 2x4 sheet of 1/4 inch birch ply, and just because I think it's a little bit wide for the look, I'm going to chop about 3 inches off on my table saw over there. If you do not have a table saw, you can use a circular saw. If you don't have either of those, use a jigsaw. If you really don't want to use a power tool at all, leave it full width. That's just fine as well. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is just soften these edges just a little bit. I think it'll kind of give it a nice look. Okay, hopefully you can see this. I've gone ahead and finished both layers of the black paint and then printed out a template for the lettering. If you have a cutting machine, great, that's awesome. If you don't, no worries. So here's what I did. I cut out the letters using an X-Acto knife. So basically a manual cutting machine, okay? So cut these all out. It doesn't actually take that long. I just put on a Netflix show. By the time the episode was over, I actually had it cut out, so it's really not bad. Mine looks a little funny. So in order to try to match the Magnolia font, I printed out one close, and I wasn't happy with the L and the D, so I've done a little bit of extra shaping. You don't need to do that, it will look fine. If you want to, just draw in the look you want it to have. So that's why mine looks a little bit extra choppy. So then I've taped it all down, and I am going to treat this just like a stencil. I'm going to use a stencil brush and simply dab the paint in here. Okay, so it's not really a brushing motion, that's going to get it under this paper. We really just want to dab it, okay? So for that, I'm going to use the same brand here. I'm going to use Rust-Oleum's chalk paint. This is their linen white. To do this, cross your fingers, it all goes well. I've not tried this method before, but I think it will be great. Just keep doing this until it's dabbed on. I'd recommend a pretty good coat because I'm going to pull it after this one. This should, depending on how much you put on here, kind of give it a little more of a worn, distressed look, which is kind of the look the sign has. The more paint you apply, the less that's going to be the case. But as this dries, it should look a little more distressed. You'll see this when we pull it off. Let's see if this worked. It should. I would just again caution that you want to make sure not to overload your brush, because that's when you're going to get a lot of trailing paint off underneath the stencil. And for all I know, I can pull this up and there's going to be stuff all over under the stencil. I'm not looking for perfect edges here, which I'm not going to have, so that's good. Worked pretty well. There's a few spots on here, but alternately you can certainly take the letters and trace them with chalk or pencil and just trace those lines in. So basically, as you're coming around here, you might the brush might come a little off the side. Again, you can either leave these marks or just simply touch them on with some black. What I'm going to do is get some of this white paint on a brush. And I like the way this white turned out, so I'm just going to leave it as is. With this L, you can see that I kind of trailed it off to here. I'm just going to go ahead and paint that in a little bit right there. And then I'll get a black brush and touch that up. And that's basically the process I'm going to go through right now, okay? Okay, welcome back. So you might notice that a few things have changed around here. I've changed. So funny story, what happened here is that I went through and I was doing the scroll work with the paint pens. Literally just draw some lines, add in some scroll work. It does not need to be fancy. If you want to, you can get a pencil and you can make sure that it's exactly where you want to be and the lines are straight. I did not do that. I just took a paint pen and just drew. I am by no means an artist in that regard and able to draw things, so I can do this, anybody can. You want it to look like a chalkboard. And you should notice that this looks a little more like a chalkboard than it used to. Funny story. I finished the scroll work like I was saying and I set it aside, and my son ran through with a sprinkler and showered the inside of my shop. And this sign had this stippled, awful effect, and so I actually put it aside for about a week and tried to decide what to do to fix it. What I ended up doing was getting just a really slightly damp cloth and I wiped the whole thing. So what it did is it kind of just, I don't want to say smeared, but it added this kind of a little more faded look. It looks a lot more like a chalkboard. So I'm hoping we can call this a happy accident. My mother-in-law likes it. It's going to her. At least she says she does. Thank you. So if you wanted to have a more chalkboard look, go ahead and let the paint basically dry. It should certainly be dry enough to touch, though it won't be set, and just give it a slight rubbing. That's all you do if you want the more chalkboard look. If you want the cleaner black look, just don't do that and keep it away from 4-year-olds. Either way, this is how it should end up. You can certainly take a little bit of paint, a paint pen, a paint brush, and clean up the white lines if you want to make that look a little cleaner. You can do this to custom. I was aiming for more of the chalkboard look, which my son helped me really achieve. And that's it. Here we are. Let you get a good look at this here. The great thing is this is a really pretty inexpensive sign. It's 1/4-inch ply, looking at maybe, I don't know, $10. And some paint pens, I'll include a link to those. I have them on hand. Again, I really like the Rust-Oleum chalk line for this. It just kind of gave it that more matte look that I was going for. If you have any questions, please drop me a line. I'd love to answer them. Thanks for following along, and good luck. Thanks so much.
Didn't Sarah's sign turn out great, even with help, in air quotes by the way, from the kids? This technique is so easily modified to say anything that you'd like. Tell me in the comments below, what phrase would you put on a farmhouse style sign like this? Click the links in the description box below to get the template and see more from Sarah, and be sure to subscribe below. If you love farmhouse style and want to see some more DIYs, check out this playlist. And if you'd rather skip the painting altogether, you can make your own mounted signs using art prints, and we have a great tutorial here. Thanks so much for watching. Please be sure to tell Sarah in the comments below how great of a job she did. See you next week.